Yes, 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 yes. Yes, a slightly different outlook on life tonight, but here we are on Monday yet again on VapeTrails.tv, and that's before I've had a drink, mind you. Hope you like the Christmas shirt. I thought, why not? There's only another 334 sleeps until Christmas, so get your cards and everything in. We've got a full night tonight. We have a hardware. What are you jigging about? Oh, God. I shall change the shot a little bit and you'll see over there, look, there's a Marco van Basten jigging about trying to get himself on camera. Go on.
No, I was doing that because you mentioned Christmas, 300 and whatever days. Come on, man, it's just gone.
Well,
get over it.
Do you not like Christmas or something?
It's just gone, for God's sake. It was last month.
Fucker.
I mean, they've had Easter eggs in the fucking shop since December as well. Come on.
Don't be like that. Don't be like that, Marco. It's just, you know, it's unbecoming of a man of your calibre, which is a drink that's got no alcohol in. Anyway, as you might have gathered, people, we have Marco van Basten with us tonight. He's there, and you'll have seen that it was flicking around. Next one up is Matt Gurish, because Matt's with us tonight, aren't you, Matt? Are you there?
Yeah, allegedly, I'm here.
Now, I've got the ability tonight to do white boxing because my mouse is here, just where my hands are. As is my mixer. And I haven't got Marco on. He's muted himself anyway, so we'll not hear him crying because his mixer's died.
I think I better adjust my mixer actually while we're at it.
Yeah, you would just adjust your mixer there, Matt. That'll be grand. So how have you been, Matt? How's life in Bridgend over troubled water?
It's the same as it always was. It's weird.
Is it?
I shan't go into why.
No,
that's really out of scope of the show.
No, don't go into why, because it's out of scope of this show. But we has gusts tonight. We has gusts, and I'm going to change to another shot to bring in our gusts, because this would be Ant, Corin, and Doug, who are sat in a huge big place called Fusion Vape, aren't you, lads?
We are certainly.
We are indeed.
Good evening and welcome to you. It's nice to see you. And welcome along to VTTV, because that's where we are. And yes, Marco's going to be talking to you two quite a lot, aren't you, Marco?
I guess I am, yeah.
Go on then, get on with it.
So I said, come on the show next week and we'll talk about the Fusion Vape Lounge Expo that's happening. So that's what we're going to do.
Well, quite. Well, what I'll do then is take a back seat and let you lot get on with it. So go for it, matey.
Okay. Well, if you put up the website, Dave, because you've got that on your side of things.
You want that as well, do you?
Yeah, just shove that up first of all.
My God, he's a choosy bugger. Hang on.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, because the guys at Fusion Expo, well, Fusion Vape Lounge, they're launching on the 4th of February, and they've got an expo on the 25th. And as it's just down the road in Nottingham, I thought I might as well nip down there with the old camera and do some filmings. And then I said to the guys, well, come on the show next week and we'll talk about it and he can tell us all about it. So tell us all about it. And Corin.
Okay, well, on the 25th, we're opening up our big hall. Normally, the hall will be filled with sofas and pool tables and arcades and all sorts. We will clear that out. We'll have about 20 tables with about 24 vendors on. It's completely free to attend. It goes from 12 until 8, and it should be a good thing.
Indeed. Yeah. Indeed. Got a lot of good vendors coming as well, guys. Like a lot. Good vendors. Handpicked. Only the best. So it's looking good. It's looking good.
Yeah, I'm just looking on there now. You've got Nautical Vapes and Clyde 57 and Vape Domain and Glance Vape and Vapey Jacks, e-cig 1 and T-Juice, and the other brands of T-Juice, 13 Cents, Halcyon Haze, Rude Oil. You've got some Naked Fish, Mellow Buddha,
Yep.
Vapor Gallery Distribution, LVAP Wholesale. You've got quite a few other, 24 in total. So you kind of spanned the laptop around earlier on before we came live, and it is quite a sized little hall you've got there.
Yeah, I'll do it. One second.
It might not be a good idea because you might lose your signal.
It's a separate webcam.
It's a separate webcam.
Yeah, it's a separate
go on
webcam then. We're not using the one on our laptop, so we should be all good.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to see the extent of the building.
There's Doug.
There's Doug on one of 4 sofas currently.
A camera. Another sofa. Pair of slippers. Where's the sliding doors and cuddly toys?
Not arrived yet. We're still waiting on those.
It's those lights that have got me.
The lights on the bar. Yeah,
Oh,
the bar's nice.
That's just
The bar's nice.
it's terrible. That fancy having lights on a bar.
Shocking, isn't it? Shocking.
Just confused
So,
matters. I'll get drunk. Well, I won't, but Marco might.
No, I won't be driving. So what can people expect, guys, when they come down? And also, thinking about this, it's not ticketed. So how many people can that hall actually take?
It's something we're not entirely sure about, with it being our first expo. But with the way we're laying it out, you'll be able to come in, walk around, walk back out, and there'll be plenty of people and plenty of space for the people, we think, with the way we've laid it out anyway.
We did a little trial night the other night for the band. They come down, had a quick practice. We've got a band on the opening night, which is on the 4th. They come down, they had a little practice. They brought some guys with them. We brought some guys with us. We probably had about 60 people in the hall, including the band, with the sofas and everything, which won't be here. And obviously the band won't be here either. And there was still a lot of space left.
Tons of space.
Tons of space left. So, you know, we're pretty hopeful for it, as we say. So we'll have to see how this one goes. As it's the first one, we can only kind of bounce off this one and see how it goes.
Yeah, and you're kind of getting in there because you're going to be the first UK expo this year, really.
Yeah.
You think? Because the next one isn't until May, Vape Expo 4.
Yeah.
Down at the NEC. So what about things like parking and transport? What's that like?
Parking, there's 2 car parks nearby. There's directions on the website to it. There's one about a 5-minute walk away, which is about £1.50, something like that, for about 4 hours, and then free after 6 o'clock. And the other one, about a 10-minute walk away, which is free all day. And they're both huge car parks, so parking isn't really going to be an issue.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And you said that there's going to be food and drink available. What kind of comestibles will be available for punters to purchase?
So we've definitely gone in on that. I mean, we've got a good selection of food and drink, everything from fusion fries to vanilla cappuccinos. It's yeah, we've got a good selection of food on to cater to everybody, really. Hopefully, there'll always be them few people that complain that we don't have what they want, but
We'll have the fryers going all day.
yeah, the fries will be going all day, no doubt. But yeah, we're gonna have a good amount of food and drink for people, so that's definitely going to be there. And yeah, man, it's looking good.
Good stuff. And then after the expo, this is kind of your permanent thing now, isn't it? The Fusion Vape Lounge.
That's right, yeah.
So tell us about your concept.
Well, obviously we've got all the arcades, we've got the pool tables. To start with, we'll be opening late. Obviously, with it being a lounge, people come in after work and chill out and vape and so on. But more towards sort of the future, we'll be opening at sort of lunchtime onwards, every day of the week, pretty much. So there's a lot of stuff to do. Obviously, we've got the VIP lounge through those windows at the back, which will have a sofa, a games console, big 60-inch TV. So there'll be plenty of people to do when they come, not just vape.
That's it. I mean, we've got a game plan for the whole thing, but obviously we're open to adjusting as things go on. If people request certain things, then we'll look at getting those in. So we're trying to cater to everybody here. I mean, we just want a place where people can come, chill, vape, no pressure. There's not really anything like that around here, to be fair. Despite the loud motorbike going by right now, there's nothing really around here like that. We're a place you can just go chill, vape, and be around like-minded people. I mean, vaping's a social thing. People seem to neglect that whole side of it. I mean, you stand outside a pub smoking a cigarette, you don't talk to the guy who's smoking a cigarette. You stand outside a pub vaping, and the other guy that's vaping will ask you, what you're vaping on. And that's it, and the conversation sparks. Vaping's a very social thing. So we're trying to create a space where vapers can come together, I guess.
Okay. And you're going to be selling kit and juice and stuff there as well?
Oh yeah, we'll have a decent selection of everything that people want. A hell of a lot of juice, to be honest.
Yeah, a hell of a lot of juice.
And yeah, mods and so on. So yeah.
It's the same with the vendors as well. The way that it's set up is essentially where you can walk, you walk out with a new mod with some nice batteries in it by Torchy. You walk out with drip tips by Big Tips. You can walk out with like a full setup with some nice juice from any of our juice vendors. That's kind of the idea behind the whole, the way that we've selected the vendors.
Yeah, rather than just having a hell of a lot of juice companies,
We've got a nice
we've
selection.
sort of tried to get the whole range of everything in. So, yeah.
Yeah, and my question actually was after the expo. So when you're just back to being the vape lounge, are you then going to be selling kit on site as well?
Yeah. We'll have mods, juice, etc. That'll all be on sale there, as well as food and other things. So yeah,
basically a shop with a lot of extras, really, games and chill out areas and so on. And so obviously we'll be open a bit later than regular shops. So
yeah, okay. I was corrected by chat. Thank you, chat. Vape Expo, not Vape Expo. Vape Jam 3 is before Vape Expo. So
in April, yeah.
Yeah, but you still got in there. Dave and Matt, do you have any questions for the chaps?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I do find the whole thing quite interesting. I mean, I quite like the idea of there being a venue that's a venue. If I get it right, if it sounds as though it's a venue first and a shop after, basically, kind of a chill out pad where you can buy stuff. And I have to admit, I do like that idea. Somewhere where you can just go and chill and vape and have a few drinkies and a sandwich or two or whatever it happens to be. In fact, it sounds like everything I love in life, even with the sound of motorbikes outside. It's yes, that's the only way to be as far as I'm concerned.
That's it. We're definitely, it's a lounge first, and it's lounge first, simple as. And obviously there will be juice and mods and stuff on sale, as we've said. But lounge, create a space for people to come together, relax, chill out, and vape without any kind of pressure of wondering whether they can vape in here. You go to some places and it's like you wonder if you can vape. No, you can't vape. And it's just, you just want a place. There's nothing like that around here where you can actually just relax, not even in the local area, and just vape and a nice big space that you can. So
we've got a lot of space for live music and sort of not necessarily themed nights, but quiz nights and all that sort of thing.
Curry nights,
live bands and that sort of thing, because there's plenty of space for it. So.
Sounds lovely. I quite like the idea of band nights and curry nights. A band and curry night with a gin night. And I might even ride the bike down. A biker's band, gin and curry night. Is there anywhere to put a tent?
Oh, plenty of space, yeah.
Plenty of space for your tent, mate.
That'll do for me. That sounds like I'm sorted. Are you in for that, Matt? Matt's
finding my mute button here. I was being polite for once,
Good Lord above.
I know. No, it sounds like a fun place, actually, to be honest. And if I was in the area, I'd pop down. But I'm a self-imposed embargo this year on going to such things. So maybe next year I'll pop down.
Well, we've got more events planned this year. I've just announced on the website 3 more this year.
Okay.
I can't remember the dates off the top of my head. They are on the website though.
So I presume then the whole purpose of this the #1 Fusion Expo is raising a profile, that sort of thing, yeah?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds reasonable enough.
Sounds like fun to me.
Well, I shall come down and do an on-location report on the 25th.
Good. Sounds good, mate. Sounds good.
You're gonna go and do what, Marco?
On-location report.
On location report?
Yes.
Are you going to be acting like a proper journalist and stuff like that?
No, I'm going to go down with my camera and stick a microphone in people's faces.
As long as it's anywhere you put them.
Well, I'm stunned and shocked. It'll be lovely. I can't wait to see what you come up with. It'll be excellent.
Well, we might as well. Always need footage. Always need to fill 5 minutes.
Oh, God, yes. We've got to fill 5 minutes. If you cannot fill 5 minutes, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Exactly. Go down on a Saturday, edit on the Sunday, put it out on the Monday. Be all done, wouldn't it?
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
I think I'm away when that happens.
Oh, yeah, because you're away again, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, the viewers, they're not going to be happy. We'll have people protesting. We'll have women's marches all the way down the A1 because you're going to be away. They'll have big placards. Yeah.
Hopefully they can protest all the way down to the vape lounge.
There you go.
Situation.
There we are.
The Vapors March. That's what it'll be. The Vapors March.
Yeah, that sounds good. You
All
should
the
go
way-
away more.
I wish.
Here's an idea for you boys. Get yourself a nice big telly and you can have VTTV watching nights on the Monday.
Yeah.
They've got a 60-inch.
We've got a 60-inch.
Yeah, well, I'm not bragging. I'm not bragging.
Is it smart?
Oh yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Smart.
So you can get YouTube. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
put
No,
the
no
back
corners,
catalogue on.
no corners have been cut.
Yeah,
So
that
here's
sounds
a
like-
question for you, which is not the Expo related, but it's vaping related. I see you're both using the mech mods there.
Yep.
Yes.
Mech
So
mod.
we did almost an entire show last week about mech mods and
Mhm.
how certain people are injuring themselves using them thereof.
yeah.
So tell us how you feel about the whole issue that's been going on recently.
Very frustrated, to be honest. It's simply a lack of knowledge that's causing it. Really, it's whether the shops are to blame for selling somebody something that they don't know about, or whether it's down to them for not learning about what they've got. It's a difficult thing to pin the blame, really. But my opinion, it really should be down to the person to learn and understand what they're using and how dangerous a mech can be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you can't really pin the blame on anybody. It's nobody's particular fault. It's kind of if somebody comes in the store and they ask me for one of those mech things that take one of them batteries, I'm not going to serve them a mech. It's as simple as that, because they clearly don't know enough about them. I think you've got to be like a certain standard of vapor before you even. I mean, I was vaping 3 years before I ever got my first mech. It wasn't up until then I was confident enough in my own ability to actually, put a dripper on an unregulated device. I think the clone situation isn't really helping out anything.
Yeah, bad build quality.
Bad build quality. I mean, you've got the recent guy with teeth missing and scratches all up his face, and if you look at the mech afterwards, that's not a sturdy mech mod. I mean, the mech mod that I'm using is a good few mil of solid brass. I don't think this is going anywhere if this battery vents. I've got a hole in the side. Imagine it's going to come out like a firework out the side if the worst should happen.
The RDA that guy was using was not ideal for a mech. It was a very, very short 510 pin. I can't remember exactly what RDA it was, but I saw a picture of it, and it's not ideal. So it was more than likely a battery short that caused that, and he perhaps should have educated himself. He perhaps should have been educated. It's a difficult one to say, but
I mean, truth came out afterwards, didn't it, that he'd had the same coils in for a long time, that the shop put the coils in for him.
yeah. So somebody was saying online that he'd had the coils in for a year.
Now,
Which is
I checked into this, and because the way the law's gone in the States, and this is, it's actually ridiculous when you think about it. Prior to August the 8th, he would go into the store once a month, once every 6 weeks, and get his coils changed, and it would be set up. They would check it. This is guys that know what they're doing, basically.
Yeah.
And that was fine. He was getting away with it because it was being checked through and maintained. He didn't have to do it, which possibly was a shortcoming. After August the 8th, when the deeming regulations came in and they were told, that's it, we can't do that, otherwise we're known as we're a manufacturer and there's all kinds of hoops to jump through. He had to do it himself, and he didn't know what he was doing. He had no frame of reference on that. It turns out it was a hybrid mod.
Yeah.
And hell, I've been vaping since 2009. I have a hybrid. I will not use it because the bottom line on it is no matter how careful you are, there comes a point when 1 or 2 more gins than's very good for you have been imbibed, and you run out of juice in whatever it is you're using, or you fancy a change of flavour, and you go and put on whatever. I'll stick the Pro Tank on that's got a fully floating centre pin. You screw it down tight, press the button, and bang, because you've got a direct short. And this basically is where he was at. He didn't have a clue really what he was doing. And I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it's the shop's fault, but the situation was fine until the USA changed the rules. And then it made it very difficult for him to be mentored. Now, I think we all know. I mean, you guys know exactly what you're doing with those mechs that you've got. You know exactly where you're at, and I can see by how you're using them and what have you that the batteries are working within their frame of reference, within their ability to cope with what you're doing. I'm betting that you're both around about 0.3, 0.4 on the coils.
I'm at 0.25 on a single coil.
0.25.
I'm at 0.22.
Yeah, well, so I wasn't too far away, and you know, it's not going to cause anything of a problem because everything is set up right, it's clean, and you know exactly what you're doing. But we are going to get the situation if there are too many places that don't take the care that you seem to in terms of asking why and listening to what people are asking for. There's going to be a situation where some plonker from 5 doors up or wherever it happens to be goes wandering into a shop and says, oh, can I get one of them twisted thingies and a copper what's its name, and I've got some batteries in the house, I'll be fine. And then the next thing you know, bang, he's in hospital and it's all over the papers. It's just it's such a risk in the current climate, given the shite that's been coming out, and we're going to be talking about some of that later on in the show. When we've got the likes of the rotund rat face in the States coming up with shite every 5 minutes, we've got to try and not give them any more ammunition than they've already got. And it's such a difficult situation to be in. It really is. I would be, if it was me, and I know this sounds horrible, I'd have them like porn used to be in the 80s. As in, I used to go to my local video shop and I knew damn fine I could get porn, but I had to ask for it. And if you didn't know it was there, you didn't ask for it. But the lads that knew. And it was a case of, have you got Debbie Does Dallas yet? Oh, yes, Dave, I will have. Brown paper package. Off you went home and enjoyed life. Ish. So I've heard. And you would have exactly the same, you know, somebody coming in and going, well, you know, have you got the latest, whatever the thing is? And yes, I will have Billy, and there it is in the brown paper bag, because you know he's capable. But if, you know, if Trevor, the coil mangler, comes wandering in, it's a case of, have you got such and such? Well, why would you want one of them? Well, because my mate 5 doors down's got one and it looks brilliant. Nah, we don't stop my mate. Easy, isn't it then?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the problem at the moment. Is mechs are kind of a cool thing.
Yes.
Everybody's on the mech scene because you know they look good and they hit hard. It's becoming a problem because uneducated people, as you say, are buying these things. I mean, it's like sticking a learner driver in a Ferrari. It's a bad idea all around. It's what we can do to stop it, I'm not too sure, but I definitely say that people should stop sharing around these posts. Because people are sharing around these posts all over the place, and they're just getting more publicity, and it's kind of making us look worse.
Well, again, I mean, to be fair, because again, I was made aware of it by people who I know that don't vape, who had seen the post because they were a friend of a friend of a friend, and the way Facebook works, you've got no control over what you say. I don't care how good you are. It's just, you've got no idea who's going to share something to your timeline. And in fact, it was shared to my timeline by a mate of mine who had been called out on it by a friend of his who didn't vape, and had said, I'd thought you told me these things were safe. And he tagged me in to give the reply, to kind of reassure that e-cigs in general are safe, and yes, there are issues and so on and so on and so on. And that's, you know, that's fine. And that was how it spread. It was actually spread more by non-vapers than vapers, from what I can see. And it didn't take too long, because the shit sheets, I'm not going to say the Daily Fail, but the shit sheets have got people watching for what's trending on all of the various different social media, because it's clickbait for them. And the minute they saw this thing get over 100,000, it's right, that's it, there's a story, lads, let's just go and pull it up and kick the vapers again. Because we can.
We're in a situation where we can't really win. The whole vaping scene's here to help people. I mean, this is the thing, is it's a hard situation. Like, what do we do as vapers? It's it's bad publicity for us. I mean, I had a woman come in the shop the other day. She come in, she got served, and a friend was stood at the back, and I asked her if she wanted serving. She says, no, I'm with her. And I asked her if she vaped. She says, no, I've got no intentions of vaping. Those things blow up in your face. She's a smoker, but it's like people have completely forgotten about the harmful effects of smoking, and now everybody's just thinking that vaporizers blow your faces off. And it's a sticky situation we're in with the whole.
Well, it is, and I think would be naive to think that there's not an agenda. I mean, I can almost guarantee that there were some of the more famous ants worldwide were rubbing their hands with glee, because here's another excuse to kick vapors up the backside and just rub their noses in something that they know themselves is not really as true as the papers are trying to make out. I mean, bottom line on it, one of them in the States said, if I remember correctly, there was 12 incidents that had hit the newspaper. 12 incidents of batteries and or devices going off. If they looked at the Samsung Note 7, I believe it is, and I'm looking for nods, 240 of those bloody things went off. And I'm not saying the shit sheet's kicking hell out of mobile phone users, but no, has to be e-cig users. And you know, we've just got to be really, really careful what we do now. We've got to be as careful as we can be not to give them the ammunition, while at the same time making sure that the truth does get out there. But I applaud your stance that, you know, you're not going to sell them to numpties. I think that's great, and thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. The harder you can make it for somebody who doesn't know how to use one, the better off we'll all be in the long term, I think.
That's it. If more people took that stance, maybe less of this would be happening. I mean, if you've got a guy coming into our shop, he's bought a mech mod from elsewhere and he wants help building it, I'm not going to build it. I personally am not going to put a build on it. Even before all these laws come in, I've got no intentions of building it, because if it does go wrong, it's me. I will put a build in mine quite happily. I know myself that it's safe. I want the other person to know that theirs is safe. And if I'm going to put a build in it for Sneef, for instance, and if I'm going to put a build in his, he is going to inspect it before he even hits that firing button. He's going to check it himself, because that's the way that he is inclined. And so if you haven't got that knowledge yourself to be able to do that, then you shouldn't have one of these things in your hand. Simple as.
I think it's safe to say you've heard it from experts there, folks. You know, I mean, I can sit here and spout until I'm blue in the face. I really can. But here we've got two experts in mechs, and you can see just by looking, they know what they're doing, and you've heard it there. If you've got no idea, leave them alone and get an RX300. And we'll
I agree with that. If you guys want to build up to a mech, then I'd suggest using an RDA. Watch YouTube. You can learn how to do a heart bypass on YouTube, right? So learning how to build some coils it's not rocket science, but you've got to respect it, because it is something that can go wrong. So respect it and learn about it, and then get your first stripper and use it on a regulated device. Don't buy yourself a Clo mech from China for £20. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Get yourself a nice stripper, get it on a regulated device, and go that way. Go that route before you even think about getting a mech. And then when you feel 100% confident, and only 100% confident in your ability, then think about moving on to a mech. But before that, please don't do it. Otherwise, you're just going to have another one of these Facebook stories.
Yes. RMJMS June on Periscope has just asked, is this scope about vaping? You've caught us out. That's exactly what it's about, yes, and welcome along. We like to try and interact with people as best we can. And Frank J524 has just joined on Periscope as well. We have viewers all over the world at the moment, so they've heard your sage words and will hear your sage words, because there's people watching everywhere. 96 on YouTube. I've got no idea how many on Facebook, and I can't see well enough to see how many are on Periscope, but there's people listening all over the world to your sage words. Marco, over to you.
Yes, well, I'm not muted. I thought I was. I just double checked looking at my screen. So I'm looking at chat as well, because someone had posted up in chat. Let me just scroll back. Yeah, it was DJ Reptile. Do you remember that guy who was, he'd built a mod like that big?
Yeah.
Huge, and it was battery upon battery upon battery stacked, held with a tea towel, because it was so chuffing hot when he pressed the button. and that got shared all over the place. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I think we've done that story to death now, but I think it's very important that people who are new to the scene don't just go out and buy something like that. They need to go regulated. So I think we're about done with that particular story, and I think we've kind of come to the end of talking about the Fusion Vape Lounge Expo, don't you think?
Yeah, well, thanks very much for having us. It's been good.
I think one last plug is in order, boys.
Say again.
One last plug.
One last plug. Yeah, definitely.
The grand opening is on the 4th. Doors open at 6. The expo is on the 25th. The doors open at 12, and that goes on till 8. And that is completely free to attend. So all you need to do is get yourself to Nottingham, and you'll see a hell of a lot of nice things on sale from all sorts of vendors.
That's it. Yeah, we've created a nice space there, guys. So please come down and appreciate, because we put a lot of work into it. We've still got a bit to go, but yeah, you guys come down. We definitely appreciate it. I'm sure of that. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of thoughts gone into this. And yeah, I mean, check out our Facebook, Fusion, and check out the website, www.fusionhaze.co.uk.
And fusionvapelounge.co.uk as well.
Fusion.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Hang on. I've got me. I'm running these teeth in for a horse. Fusion Vape Lounge. Take all the spaces out, and there you go. Is that Fusion with an S or a Z?
With an S.
S.
Fusion with the proper English spelling thereof. Fusion with an S. Vape Lounge.co.uk.
That's indeed.
.co.uk. There you go. That's the way to go. And actually, the conversation that we've just been talking about, and thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. I do. Oh, you're up there. I do appreciate it. I'll not tickle their bums. Yes. You can't see what I can see. That's the thing. As they said, start on a mech. Start on a mech. And Marco has been looking at just the mech to start on. Have you not, young fellow?
Well, I have if you've got big hands.
You have if you've got big hands. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it?
You'll see more in a minute.
Well, how's about we say we'll see more now?
Hello. I have promised you for a little while now a VT on this. Ta-da! The RX300 from Wismec. And I purchased this a while ago, as did Dave Dawn. We bought one each on the same day, got them the next day, and we've been playing with them ever since. And I have to say, it is nice. But we're going to go down there, we're going to have a look, and then I'll tell you some more when I come back, because I'm bound to forget something when I'm doing the close-up stuff. Yeah, see you in 2. So, as I've just said, we're going to look at the Reuleaux RX300 today. Now, I've had this for quite some time, and I promised you a VT a few weeks ago. But it's actually better that I show you now, because I've had more time to play with it, to get to grips with it, and to fully appreciate what it does. So let's look at what you get in the box. You get your humongous Wismec Reuleaux RX300. Now, I have got here the silver stroke carbon fibre. It comes in a black carbon fibre, a black and a silver. And it also comes, which I'll show you in a minute, with 2 sticky pads that go on here, on either side. With the ones that aren't carbon fibre, you don't get this insert here, the carbon fibre insert. You get panels that you can put these leather stickies on, which I'll show you. So that's that for the second. We'll take this out, as you do, and take out this bit, and you get a handy USB to micro USB charging cable. Nice thick cable, well made, and a decent size, nice and long. So in the bottom of the box you get all the other bits. I'll leave this for a second. These are the 2 kind of leather stickies that I told you about, which stick on here on the other versions. I'm going to keep mine just the carbon fibre because I quite like it. It looks nice. But you can stick those on if you so wish. Gives you a bit more grip. So they come anyway. So we'll get rid of those. Move that out of the way. You get your manual, which is fairly good. It tells you everything you need to know about the different things you can do and the different menu items that you can change. So that's well worth having a look at. And it also comes with a little card. And I'll zoom in on this card for you so you can see it nice. There you go. Please be careful not to use batteries with torn casings as it is a safety hazard. Now they also say this on their website. And I'm pleased about that because that is one of the reasons that we get battery failures, is you using a battery or cell that has got a torn casing, because many of you may or may not realise that on the top of your battery there is a positive here, there's an insulating ring here, but there's also a negative there. So if this is torn and damaged, then a key or a coin can touch both poles on the top. Doesn't have to be the bottom. So as you'll see, this is a brand new set of batteries, the Avatar batteries, and it's 18650 3.6 volt, 2100 milliamp hour, 30 amp. I bought these at the same time. In fact, this particular set of batteries came with the device itself, and I purchased a second set. So as you'll see, I've labelled mine RX300 set 1, and then I have RX300 set 2. So they're all labelled up. So I'll only use these at the same time, and these are only going to be used in this. There it is, in this. So these batteries are for this, and the second set of batteries I've got are for this, and they won't be used on any other devices. They'll be charged at the same time, used at the same time, and not mixed up. That's the way I like to roll. It's just a little bit safer. And the other good thing for me is the other set of batteries are blue. They're not green. But I've still labelled them with RX300 set 2, which I think is important. So let's go back to our device. 510 thread on the top, and it is big. Now, you know, I have got large hands. You can see that, and if you know me, you know I'm 6'5". I'm not a small guy, and I've got big hands. This is a nice size for me. If you've got small hands, this will not be for you. Because if you look at the difference between the RX200, that's the difference in size. It is quite a lot bigger. And that's because it's holding 4 batteries. Now, the other difference is on the 200 and on the 2/3, you see again, I've labelled my batteries here, set 1A, and I've got set 1B. The batteries go in like that with the cover on the RX200 and on the RX2/3. On the RX300, there is a little battery cover like that. Now, if I tilt this, you will see in here, you will be able to make it out. If I get it properly in shot, you've got there minus, minus plus, and then you've got up here, you've got plus and minus. That is the orientation of the batteries. And if you look on the top, it also tells you minus, plus, minus, plus. So whichever way you look, if you look at the bottom, that is where the plus is going to go, and that is where the minus is going to go. So you can look on the top or you can look on the bottom. Either way, you'll get the batteries in the right orientation, which I like. I like that fact. It's something small, I know, but I think it helps people. And then you can't muck up. Even if you did muck up, this will not work because this has got double protection. It protects against the batteries being the wrong way, and it also protects from over current. So it has 2 levels of protection. So 2 plus down, which means 2 minus up, then conversely 2 minus up, 2 plus up, and there you go. Batteries in, and clicky clicky, and there you go. And you'll see that the display has come on, and it's quite a large display. Tells you everything that you need to know. And if I use my trusty Vape TV pen, And just take the pointer off. You'll see here. So, tells you what mode you're in, and this is currently in temperature stainless steel. Tells you your current temperature. This is 520 Fahrenheit, and it goes up to 600, and then you can cycle through to centigrade as the rest of them. It gives you the status of your batteries, and then it tells you the wattage, your resistance, the amps, and down here you can have a puff count. You can change these around a little bit as well. But what I'll do is I'll show you what happens when it's turned off. So it's 5 clicks to turn it off. And there we are off. If you hold down the minus button and the fire button for a few seconds, there we go. It gives you the current status of your batteries. Now you see there that 2 of them were under 4 volts and the other 2 were over 4 volts. Don't know why that is, but there you go. If you hold down the plus button and the fire button for a few seconds, come on, there you go. That takes you into the memory function. You've got memory 1, memory 2 and memory 3. So if you've got some different wires that you want to use, and you know what the TCR is, the temperature coefficient, you can put those in there, and then in the main menu you can select to use memory 1, memory 2 or memory 3, and then it will be set up for that wire with the correct TCR. If you hold down the plus and minus together, no fire button, just the plus and minus together, that will reorientate the screen upside down, and conversely it will take it back. So those are the things you can do with the power off. Most mentioned at the front there is a micro USB port which you can use to charge with, as well as connecting to your PC if you want to upgrade the firmware and such. They do say on the website that you can charge, and it will charge all 4 batteries properly. However, they do indicate on the website, this is Wismec, that it's better to take your cells out and charge them independently, which I do. If I was in a bind in the car and this is the only device I had and it was running low on juice, then I would probably plug it in for a while just to get a bit of voltage in there. But I do have 2 chargers, both will work in the car, so I keep one in the car. Anyway, there you go. So 5 clicks to turn it back on again. If you do it right, there you go. And we're back in the menu. So in here, if you hold down the minus button and the fire button, that takes you into stealth mode. And to get back again, minus button and fire button, that comes out of stealth mode. If you hold the plus and minus together, that locks it. So that locks your buttons apart from the fire button. And to get out, of course, it's the same in reverse. So now we are back in again. Now, if you hold down the plus button and the fire button, that takes you into this menu, and you need to be quick. And if you press plus, you can then look at the power and the time on a preheat. So you can set this to 40 watts with a preheat of 1 second, and then when you press the fire button, it will preheat to 40 watts for that 1 second. You can change that around. I don't use that personally. So I've got on top here the Fumitech Windforce that I looked at after Vapor Expo. This has got a wattage coil on, not a temperature control coil. So this is set at 60 watts. I'll just give it a little toke for you. And you can see it performs rather nicely. Now, I must say this will go from 1 watt to 300 watts. Not that I'm ever going to have it at 300 watts. The most I go to is probably 100, 120. I didn't buy it because I could go to 300 watts. I bought it because my first ever Wismec RX300 died on me. So I wanted to replace it. Saw a good deal on this in the January sales. So I picked it up. And also, it's a nice mod. It's nice and hefty. It is very heavy with 4 batteries in. It's a lovely construction. And I bought it because I like the look of it. And I wanted to replace my failed device. So that being said, the fire button, 3 clicks. And that takes you into the mode that's flashing, so you can change that. So we've got temperature mode, and then we have the TCR mode, and then it goes to power. And when it's flashing, if you hit the press the left key, that then allows you to change things. So you can change that to TI, NI, and back to stainless steel. While that is still flashing, if you press the minus again, that gets you into this menu, and then you can change things here. And it's difficult to do on camera, but this is now changing the wattage it starts at, and I'm going to keep that at 40. So once that one's flashing, if you then press your fire button, it goes back out. So 1, 2, 3, stainless steel, minus button again, minus button again. Now 0.78, if I then press the plus button, that locks that resistance in, and press it again and it comes out. If I hit minus again, that allows you to change this counter, and that's a puff count, and then it goes back to the top, because you can't change this one. That's just an indicator only, which tells you the ampage. So plus. Now it won't work in temperature control mode because this is not a temperature control coil. But that, my friends, is as easy as it gets. There's a few things you can do. There's a few things you can't do. It's very similar menu wise to all the other Wismecs, to the RX200, to the RX 2/3. The difference is it gives you the battery indications here, and you've got that puff count, which, you know, do we really care about how many puffs? Personally, I don't, but some people might. Some people might. So that particular display, I'd like it to be something else, but there you go. So 60 watts at the minute on the Fumitech. I'm loving it. Let's go up top and finish off. Oh, welcome back up top. Yeah. It fair kicks it out, doesn't it? Now, I did forget a few things. Yes. So, firstly, measurements. 42mm, 58mm. Yeah, I didn't weigh it, but it's heavy. I will tell you that. Stats wise, as I said in the VT, it does go from 1 to 300 watts output. Coil wise, in temperature control mode, it will go from 0.05 to 1.5 ohms. In wattage mode, it will go from 0.1 to 3.5 ohms in resistance. The temperature range goes from 100 to 350 degrees centigrade, or 200 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, and like the other Wismecs, it cycles through. So once you get to 600 degrees Fahrenheit, it will then change into Celsius or centigrade mode, and conversely, once you get up to 315 degrees centigrade, it will then kick in at 200 degrees Fahrenheit and then cycle through. So that's how you change the temperature. I didn't show you that. I've shown you it on every other VT though, so there you go. But that's what it will do. It's got a maximum charging current of 1.5 amps, and it's got a maximum output of 50 amps. Now there's a couple of things that I didn't show you on the close-up, and that is there's a USB mode And I didn't show you that because I haven't got the little bit of kit that I'm going to show you in a little slide right about now. Yeah, so this spins onto the 510 connection and it's got a USB out, which you can then put into a device and charge it with. Now, I know that may not be something that you want to do. If you remember, some of the older devices had a USB output which allowed you to use it as a battery bank as well. But if you're in a fix, your phone's just about to die, and you have the particular adapter that was in that picture, then you could screw it on if you had a full batteries and give your phone a little bit of juice. Personally, no. I carry a power bank anyway, which is specifically designed for the task as opposed to using my e-cig. But, you know, the option's there. I've no idea how much the adapter costs. It doesn't ship with the unit. It is an optional extra. But I can't see that many people buying it, if I'm honest. But I am happy that I bought this. Now, we don't recommend anything, do we, on Vapor Tools TV? What I can tell you is I am glad I purchased it, and I did buy it with my own cash. A sizable amount of cash as well, but it was well worth it for me. I'm loving it a lot. And like I said, I have this at 60 watts. It's got a resistance of 0.13, and it is kicking it out rather nicely. As you can see, yeah. Lots. Now, I don't blow rings like Mr. Dawn or other people. Can't do it. I don't know why, I just can't do it. But rather than blow at the camera, so it just kind of whites out so you don't see how much vapor this does. What I'll do is I'll go to the side. I'll go to this side, right, and I'll blow it over there. Ready? Plenty. I've got to be careful because I've got a smoke detector up there. I don't want to set the system off, which I've done once, only once, but my window is closed at the moment, and this room is rapidly filling with vapor. Yes. So there you go. That's the Wismec RX300. I'm loving it. You know, I can't say I recommend you go and buy one, not under the new regulations, but what I can say is I love it. That's it. Back to the studio.
Back to the studio. Marco said back to the studio. That was what he said. He said back to the studio. You can tell he's there. Look, nodding. Look, nod.
I did. I said back to the video. And somebody mentioned in chat, and let me just scroll back. Hold on. Who was it? Blaze said Marco's got it all written on a bit of paper, top right. Actually, Blaze, it was on a screen, left.
But did you fit the
can't
video?
remember everything. You just can't remember everything when you're doing it. So I had information that I needed to get into the video on this screen over here. Yeah, because I was sat over there.
Here's a handy tip, Mark. When it comes to the interwebs, even if you do remember everything, some bastard's going to bloody point you out you're wrong somewhere anyway.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Possibly.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always going to occur. Always going to occur. So, is that all you're using? You're using that person. You all just that's it. That's what you're using. Nothing more.
Well, this.
Aye.
No, I'm using the 200 and the 2-stroke 3 in rotation because I've got 3 different flavors on the go. You know what I'm like? I don't sit on one flavor all day, so I've got 3 flavors on 3 devices.
You profligate at you.
I love it.
You're just bragging. That's all it is. You're just bragging.
So listen, you've had the RX300 for the same amount of time as I have because you bought them on the same day. Because I put it into our Skype chat what I just purchased,
Yes.
and you said, "Oh, I'm having one of them," and then you got yours the same day as I did the next day. So you've been using it the same amount of time. What are your thoughts, Mr. Dawn?
I'm not paying for next day delivery again because you tight ass didn't.
No, I didn't.
And they both arrived on the same bloody day.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So I'm not paying for next day delivery again. And Matt couldn't give a toss either way because he didn't buy one.
No, he didn't.
No.
And he's not going to either.
Actually, you could be missing out, Matt.
No.
You know me, I vape a lot. It's what I do.
You?
Yeah.
hell.
Well,
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Well, I do. I vape a lot. And even on an RX 2/3 in 3 battery mode, or an RX 200 in 3 battery mode, which is all it'll do, I could not get through a 24-hour period with just one set of batteries. I'd have to swap out. If they went in at 9 o'clock on a morning, I'd be swapping out at 5. These, because it's got 4 batteries in, this is doing me a 24-hour period. Now, like Mark, I've got the green batteries and the blue batteries. All came from the same place. I don't know about you, Marco, but I find the green ones work for a little bit longer. Are you finding the same sort of thing?
Yeah, about the same. But I mean, I've had 3 swaps so far. So I've got the green ones in at the moment, and I've got about a third left on those. So these will be going in the charger tonight, and I'll put the blue ones in, which are charged. What are in the lounge, because I've got a charger in the lounge and a charger in the office. So I can charge in 2 places. You just got to do it. You know what I mean? Got to do it.
What a fella.
And as I was saying, also in the VT, both these chargers I can plug into my cigarette lighter and charge that way. As I was saying, as opposed to plugging it in here, because I'm a bit iffy about plugging it in. Even though they say you can do it, it did mention a particular avatar charger for the fast charging, which I don't own. And given the fact that the battery discharging is slightly off when it comes to discharging them all at the same time equally, I'm not 100% sure it would probably charge them that efficiently. So,
Super Sevens just said on Periscope, I am a wimp. My 2-year-old iStick 50 lasts me 4 days on a single charge.
I've just seen that on Periscope as well.
Yeah, that's crackers. No, I mean, you're right.
They're lasting me a good day as well, and I'm on it all the time like you.
Well, I mean, I've got no problems. It's all I've been using since I got it, and I'm loving it. I am actually quite keen on the way it's working. Grip is good. It's not slipping through my fingers, even when I've done my usual trick of overfilling the tank and letting it pittle out the sides, as you do. I'm running this thing. This is running at 125 watts. 124. Oh yeah, you can see 124 watts, and it's getting me through a 24-hour period. And it's the first time in a long time I've come across anything that's got the oomph to do that, and I like that. It is, you can feel when it's dropping, when the batteries are dropping off, and then it'll come up with the weak battery thing, and I'm not changing the batteries out until I get to the weak battery thing. I mean, this afternoon I had no choice. I got weak battery because I hadn't changed before I went out. And that was at the arse end of a 24-hour period. It's sorry, I've got a touch of the hiccups here. Not nickups, hiccups. It must be the gin, because I've only got a small glass of it tonight. Pint, like you do.
Yeah, that's because you finished the other nearly whole pint of it earlier on.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes.
That's
Mike B's asked the question, how many mils of juice do you go through 24 hours?
Who, me?
And Wraithtech says, fecking lots.
At least 18 mils of 9 milligram, because that's what I've mixed up to. So I'm going through about 18 mils of 9 milligram, possibly 20, maybe a bit more, a bit less. It just depends. It depends on what the day is, you know. If it's a nice day like Sunday was, i.e. I haven't opened Twitter or Facebook, and I've been, you know, sitting there enjoying life, then 12 mils. If it's been a day like today, with the rotund barrage balloon in the States coming up with all kinds of shite, then I get through a lot more because I'm concentrating and swearing and using a lot. But that's just me. I mean, I used to smoke 60 a day. You know, you can't expect us to go through like 3 mils anymore. It's not going to happen, is it?
No. I mean, I probably do about 10 mils a day over the 3 devices. And if I'm on a particular flavour that I like a lot, I might, you know, do a whole tank and then refill it. So, no, between 10 and 15 mils a day probably. And that's either 3 or 6, depending on what the flavour is. At the minute, I've got 2 that are on 3 and 1 that is on 6. And I've just purchased a shed load of nicotine and flavours. So we'll be doing some mixing for you very soon. Yes.
Ooh, when you say for me,
Well, I'm talking about the viewers, really.
what, you're giving juice away, are you?
Giving them out, are you? Yeah.
Not now. But next week, I do have a little thing planned with some video on something that I was sent when I bought my nicotine and flavours last week. Yes.
See, Stevie B's just said on Periscope, beastie tanks drinking us dry. They're not. The way to get round that, and this is why the TPD is such a pile of shite, is to get some 24 milligram and don't use it as much. It's why I've gone back up to 9, because I'm not using it as much, and there's enough flavouring in what I've mixed that makes it easy enough to not use it as much. But I find if I'm on 3, if I've got the 3 milligram stuff, I'm telling you now, I will get through, cop for this, 30 to 40 mils a day of 3 milligram, at least.
What are you doing, drinking it?
I've done that as well, but the bottom line on it is, it's just I don't know, it's just the way it works. The higher the nick, the less I use. So that tells you something. I don't know what it tells you, but it tells you something. You've not noticed that?
Yeah. Oh, it's obvious, isn't it? It's self-triation, isn't it?
Titration, yes.
Yes.
Tritation, yes, not triation.
No,
Well done.
titration. Titration. Tit rations. Think
Aye,
tit
yes.
rations, and you'll be fine.
Oh, I've been on tit rations for years.
Yes.
I don't like to ration those.
Let's not go there. We'll get wrong. Somebody will complain.
Yeah.
Probably my wife.
Is she in chat? I'm
No.
just checking. No, she's okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Sputs,
She's in the kitchen behind him.
yeah, probably. I think Sputs is on tit rations too. It says there, titration. It's the piss pronunciation of words. Mispronunciation. Oh, well, sort of hard. I don't bloody
Yes.
care.
So you're liking it. So you're on the same hymn sheet as I am, whereas you think it's a nice little mod.
I like it, but I've got fairly big hands, as you say. I mean, if I'm to be honest, it is heavy in a jacket pocket. It's not light. But if you've got a man bag, as all the best vapors have, it's not an issue. What?
I was saying nothing.
You've got one?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a man bag per se.
What would you call it? A handbag or a purse?
No, I'd call it a.
Hang on, he's Yorkshire. It'll be an old doll.
It's a shoulder bag type thing. Yeah.
Man
But
bag.
I don't go out with it. Only if I'm going somewhere like Vapor Expo, or if I'm going up to the land of the Scots, then I take it with me because that's got all my vaping kit in and my tablet and everything.
Ah, right.
My
Yes.
charger, that kind of thing.
In NCIS, it would be a situation bag.
Yeah, it's a record bag, is what they call it. You know, with the flap. So
Messenger bag.
messenger bag type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, don't talk
I
about.
would get it, but I've got one of my lamps on it. So
Don't talk about flaps.
So yes. So
You'll
there you go.
Be mentioning flange next.
Flange? No.
Don't mention
Is
flange.
that still available in chat? Someone type it in chat. 'Cause I'm not sure if we killed that word or not. But there you go.
Stevie B says the next 100 ml mix he's going to try 6 milligram, and Paul Robinson's just called you bum bag Marco.
Bum bag marker.
Yeah, Sputs only has one and he keeps his man bits in it.
Now I do have one of those fanny packs, bum bags, whatever you call it, which I use for holidays. Yes.
Oh,
So I
it's,
think
it's,
no. I just had a
no,
vision.
yes, it's just, yes, it's just brought up a Speedo thong and a bum bag.
Oh God, no.
Marco
Long
is budgie
shorts,
smugglers.
knee-length shorts. Budgie smugglers. Can you imagine? No, don't even imagine it. No, I need mind bleach myself.
It's too late.
No.
It's too late. Where's my brasso? I need to drink something.
God, where's the
Go
gin?
and, go and chew some Duraglit, Matt.
Okay.
So yes, always handy.
I'm sorry,
Paul
I've
Robertson.
just
No,
had to,
Paul Robertson now at 804. No budgie smugglers. Not a chance. Or mankinis. No. Knee-length shorts. Thank you very much. And no sandals either. Anyway.
only
there
with
you go.
socks.
No.
Hey,
My beast says, oh God, no, please not the mankini. No, not happening. Not happening at all.
have you got that page up?
I do have that page up, yes.
Right,
Have you got the page up?
I have. I've got it ready to go.
Okay.
Let's rant. Here we go. Mail online. Adverts all over the place. This tells you it's bloody clickbait, doesn't it? But look at that sodding headline. E-cigarettes are getting non-smoking teens hooked on nicotine. Bullshit. Bullshit alert. This is a bullshit alert, people. You can do a course on identifying bullshit. You just need to read this and you know what bullshit looks like. Go on, Marco, tell them about it.
Well, apparently, I need to move that down here actually because it's too. I'll just cover you because I'm going to cover the my screen with the Hangout on. So yes, e-cigarettes are getting non-smoking teens hooked on nicotine. Yes, bullshit. Researchers claim that teenagers who would never normally smoke are now starting out with so-called vaping before moving on to regular cigarettes, risking long-term health problems.
Bullshit!
Now, yeah, let me just go just that bit first. Who the hell is going to use something which is fantastically tasty, like vaping, and then go on to something which tastes like cigarettes taste? It's not happening. Sorry. But where does it come from? Oh, here we go. The University of California, San Francisco.
Do you know the names? Do you know the names?
I don't know the names. I'll
Glance
go down.
Glance and Dutra.
Oh, there you go. It's Glance and Dutra.
Like
I mean-
Kermit and Miss Piggy.
Yeah, it's just more absolute bullshit bollocks clickbait, as you said. Oh, here we go. Senior author Dr. Stanton Glantz, professor of medicine at the University of California. Yeah, who pays your wages? I wonder, Mr. Glantz. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just asking a question. Yeah. Do you get any funding from tobacco companies or pharmaceutical companies? I'd love to know.
He
I really would.
He gets no funding whatever from tobacco companies, and in the year 2015-2016 was granted $20 million, right? $20 million from the, is it Robert Woods Johnson Foundation, which is an offshoot of Pharma. It's the pharmaceutical charitable thing that gives people who rubbish e-cigs lots of money, basically, is what it is. $20 million is what he got. But carry on.
Yes, I'm just going to move it back over here now. So apparently, the figures from the the US and Canada in the latest research cover a health study of more than 140,000 teenagers and say smoking rates are coming down. But between 2011 and 2014, the proportion of children using both cigarettes and e-cigarettes rose from 11.4% to 12.2%, driven by the fashion for vaping. Lead author Dutra said, hold on, while some of the kids using e-cigarettes were also smoking cigarettes, we found that those who were at a low risk of starting nicotine with cigarettes were using e-cigarettes. Carry on.
Right. That between 2011 and 2014, the proportion of children using both cigarettes and e-cigarettes rose from 11.4% to 12.2%, driven by the fashion for vaping. Now, what they're not telling you is that the number of what they're calling children smoking fell by nearly 40%. It's only because those disingenuous wazzocks in the States have classified e-cigs as a tobacco product that they're able to say, this is what he's using, because it's a tobacco product, the noble art of pressing a button and inhaling vapour is smoking, according to that disingenuous, fat, bloated, bearded bastard. There you are, Marco.
Don't sit on the fence, Dave. Just tell it how it is.
Oh, sorry. Was I being a bit diplomatic?
Not many. So
Why do you think I
basically-
got rid of the tash? People said I looked like him.
No. We don't look anything like him. My God. So, well, here we go. I've seen the tagline here on that. It says, although it had been illegal since October 2015 to sell e-cigarettes under 18s in Britain, the wide range of flavours such as bubblegum and blueberry make the devices extremely appealing to young people. You see, they're extremely appealing to adults. I'm 50 in October, for God's sake. I love my flavoured e-liquid. I don't use tobacco-flavoured e-liquid. I use fruit, chocolate, nut, cake, whatever. Get over it, for God's sake. This is what they need to understand. It's not the children that want it. It's the adults that want the flavours.
Oh, we don't count, man, because we are filthy ex-smokers. Right? We are filthy smokers. According to Glance, we are still using tobacco products, and Dutra and a whole host of others. We're still using tobacco products, therefore we are still filthy smokers. Nicotine use has got to be eradicated from the planet, together with toast that's browner than golden yellow.
Jesus. Don't get me started on that story.
Oh, I was checking my poo this morning to see what colour that was.
Now, you're talking to someone who, I mean, I don't eat a lot of toast these days because I don't eat a lot of bread these days, but in my bread eating days, I would double toast my toast. It would be very brown, almost burnt. Love it. And someone's going to tell me I can't have it. No.
Well, quite.
Stupid.
It is.
Come on.
But look, it says e-cigarettes are marketed as helping people to quit smoking, but the authors said they saw no evidence of this. That's one of the bits on there. Now, look, the fact of the matter is they cannot be marketed as helping people to quit smoking. Legally, both in the States and in the UK and everywhere around the EU, in New Zealand, in Australasia and various other parts of the world, they cannot legally be marketed as helping people to quit smoking. They are an alternative to smoking, the byproduct of which is that people, if they're fully switched to e-cigs, no longer smoke. That is the truth of the matter. That's the way it is. You can't put it any other way. So that's a bloody outright lie in there. But, sorry, carry on. Go on, next paragraph, I'll let you.
Which bit did we get to?
A spokesman for the UK Vaping Industry Association.
Okay, that's right down the very bottom, actually.
It is, yes.
Yeah. So, it just ends with a recent survey found the use among 11 to 18-year-olds was rare and largely among children who had currently or previously smoked tobacco. There are also strict rules to ensure vaping products are not sold to minors.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what's wrong with minors. I mean, underage people, yeah, but I mean, minors, they go down the ground and they dig the coal and everything. They should buy what they want, shouldn't they?
Well, look, hang on. Let's use the proper term, minors. Minors, that is people under the age of 18. And again, let's be right about it. If the Daily Fail is right that e-cigs are marketed as helping people to quit smoking, right? If that's right, if that is what they're doing, then NRT, which is also marketed to help people quit smoking, is available to youngsters aged 12 and over. They can go into any superstore you like and buy patches, gums and inhalators over the counter, legally, at age 12. According to Glance and Dutra and a whole host of other people, a youngster has got to start smoking first and then get to age 18, and then, and only then, can they move to e-cigs. And yet, what we are seeing, and there's been a number of threads on this in Facebook, on Twitter, all over the place, we are seeing reports of folks going past the school and seeing kids come out and use an e-cig. And I think that is a good thing, because the same kids would otherwise be using lit tobacco. They'd be smoking cigarettes. Now, I've got 2 grandsons, aged 4 and 2. At some point in time, they are going to get curious. They just are. It's what they do. And if they get curious and decide to pick up an e-cig from somewhere, I'm not going to be that bothered. Because it's not going to do them any harm. It'll do them no more harm than them going down to the local coffee shop, not the Hollandish type, and sitting and drinking a few lattes or double espressos while they try to attract the young ladies, which is what I used to do when I was a young one. We all did that. It's not a problem. Why should it be any more problem because they're trying e-cigs which are not going to kill them? So that, disingenuous. But do carry on, Mark. Oh, sorry. I just get into ranty mode every now and then. And at the moment, I'm feeling ranty.
I know this. I mean, at the end of the day, do patches and gum and inhalators, the plastic tampon and the spray, do they perchance contain nicotine?
No, they don't contain the same nicotine as e-cigs. No, the nicotine in those are made from distilled fairy farts and unicorn droppings. That's how they make the nicotine. It's a magic nicotine that doesn't have the same effects as the nicotine in e-cigs. It's a different, completely different nicotine. It has to be. It must be. Otherwise, they'd be pointing the same bloody fingers at NRT as they do at e-cigs. So it's got to be different. It's got to be magic fairy dust.
Must be.
You know.
It must be.
Load
you know, at the end of the day, we know what all these stories are there to do. We know that they're trying to demonize vaping, increase profits for other people because e-cigs are
big pharma.
Exactly. E-cigs are eating into their profit margins, eating into their money coming in, and they don't like it much. So they'd much prefer to throw a few $100 million at some crap research or rehashed research from years ago, rehashing the same thing. They just probably sit there all day eating a paper, shitting it out, and spreading it over new bits of paper because that's all it is. Absolute bullshit.
It's the same crap time after time after time, and they're working on the basis that if you say it loud enough and long enough, people will believe it. And the more extreme they get, the more chance of success they've got. Seriously, this is coming to you from the same people that brought you over brown toast will give you cancer. The same people. And even Cancer Research UK on the toast thing said, well, we wouldn't have started a campaign on evidence as shonky as that. Not their exact words, but that's what it meant. And here we have people who get kudos from folks in tobacco control, i.e. Glance, because he was in the vanguard of making sure that people would never smoke again. And how much success has he had at that? Bugger
Exactly.
all, I would suggest.
Not a lot. And let me just reply to this in our chat, and I will tell you.
Turbo Shed K3's he's obviously put a second thing up. He says, even better, I need to get him off the fags and onto vaping. I'm sorry, I missed that first bit. What was it? Put it up again, please, so I can see. Because I have the feeling that this is about youth. And
while I wait for that, Paul Wilson in our chat room has said, my son and many of his mates started smoking. I managed to get my son to try an e-cig and he quickly switched. Then most of his mates tried e-cigs and more than half have now switched.
Well, there
So
you go.
I've just asked Paul how old, so if you can tell us how old. Oh, he was 17 when he started smoking. So, you know, very nearly an 18-year-old.
Yes. Paul Robinson's going to die. He had burnt toast with bacon. Look at Matt's face. Look at Matt's face. Look at that. There is the face of a man that cannot believe what he's hearing.
He can't. He really can't. The world just gone fucking mad.
Oh, Turbo Shed bumps into the editor of the Daily Mail Online on the school run.
Can you run him over next time, please?
No.
Interestingly, how many under 18s in that school vape? That'd be an interesting little thing to find out, wouldn't it?
Yes. Super 7 has just said, the wolf has cried 100 times too often. Don't just listen anymore. One life, just enjoy it. I would go along with that. Seriously, these people have been punting the same shit for so long. It just, yeah, that's a good idea. So yes, ask the editor of the Mail Online if he'll come on the show, will you? and we'll bring him on. I'll get him on the
Yeah.
show. I'm quite happy to do that. I would love to get people like that on this show and quiz them and find out what actually is their beef. You know, what is it that's making them do what they do? Because it's completely senseless. I'm hearing now that there is a movement to get science editors and science reporters in the papers to actually understand science. And I wish they did. I really do wish they did. And yes, Sarah Napton, I'm talking about you and your ilk and the rest of these disingenuous swains that get these jobs under false pretenses. When I was the editor of a magazine, it was a computer magazine, and I know some of the people that watch VTTV have actually read the mags as well. It goes back an awful long way. But if the guys and gals that worked for me at the time came up with the kind of idiocy that these people are coming up with in newspapers, they would be out of a job in no time flat. And I'd be on the phone to all of my colleague editors to say, I've just sacked him because he's shite or she's shite. And they'd go, why? I'd send them the piece, they'd read it, they'd realise that what they'd seen was a whole load of rubbish copied and pasted from some press release, and they would never work again in the industry. And the way things stand at the minute, we have got people working for shit sheets like the Daily Mail and the Sun, and they know who they are, that are regurgitating utter crap that has no scientific basis, and they haven't got the common sense to realise that what they are reading on these press releases is utter bullshit. It has all of the legitimacy of a festering pile of fetid dingo kidneys. They shouldn't be using it. They shouldn't be reprinting it. They should have more brain cells and understand that what they're coming out with is crap. What say you, Marco?
Yes, sorry, I was muted and I was reading chat. Yes, I mean, there are certain journalists out doing sciencey stuff that obviously do not research properly, don't ask the right questions, just write what they're told or make it up. I don't know. But we know a lot of these stories are clickbait to get you to click on other stuff. I mean, if you look on that page, there's loads and loads of stories with photographs, and it's all kind of celebrity crap that you really don't want to know about. But that's all it is. And then down the bottom is just more stuff. There's lots of comments on there. There's 171 comments when I last refreshed the page.
Have you read them?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah. There's one here from Steve, 1974 from Dorset. My biggest mistake, I started smoking. My best decision was to quit using a vape. I'm now nicotine free for 12 months. So, you know, that person has managed to then stop altogether. You know, for me, it's 5 years next month that I started vaping and stopped using lit tobacco. I've not looked back, and I'm never going to go back to lit tobacco.
Well, I went through all the comments on that, and seriously, I was busily downvoting. I managed to get to about post number 89, and then had to do something else called getting your tea, and just trying to downvote all the crap and upvote all the decent stuff in case people do go by, you know, the highest voted stuff. And seriously, some of the bloody comments on there, how e-cigs are surviving at the moment, I just do not know. This onslaught that we've had about exploding batteries, about kids getting hooked on nicotine, like this piece of crap that's just come out, and all kinds of other stuff that's come out in, we're 3 weeks into 2017, and there's been more shite this January than there's been for any January since 2009. It is utter bloody rubbish. It really is. It annoys me to death and back. And I've been talking for too long. Time for somebody else to say something. Matt?
I can't add anything to this because it's just bullshit. It's clickbait, as has been said. There's no solid numbers in there. I mean, if these kids are apparently using nicotine, does it say how much nicotine? No, it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't differentiate.
No. And then there's this whole thing about at risk of smoking. Is that the same as at risk of getting hit by a bus?
No, it's like at risk of meeting a girl. I mean, that's the other thing that came up today, right? Apparently, vapers are more likely to have more than 4 sexual partners in their lives, more likely to be sexually active, more likely to be violent, more likely to be drinkers. They obviously hadn't met me when I was 19. Because I'd hit all of their bloody criteria by the time I was 19. You know?
That's ridiculous.
No, it was enjoyable.
Where do they get these figures from? Oh, seriously. I mean, what does that got to do with anything?
Well, what they're trying to do is to say that people who vape are bad people. Does this ring any bells? What did they do to smokers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People,
I tell you what though, there's more chance of school children in America being shot down by their classmate than they are dying from using an e-cig.
well,
fact.
they're not going to die from using an e-cig.
Exactly.
Is the bottom line. But you know, I mean, this whole, there you are, Jim Cockney smoked from the age of 9. He's now 60, and he's vaped for over a year with no cigs. Right? 12 months into it. Well done, mate. But the thing is, you know, going back donkey's ages, there was this whole, they call it denormalisation, which apparently, it seems, is a polite word for stigmatisation. They've stigmatised smokers consistently since 1973. They started off gently, and then it got worse and worse and worse, to the point where there have been moves to stop smokers from adopting. Now, I actually do know a little bit about all of this, the whole adoption thing and everything else. And adoptive parents are desperately needed. But no, they stigmatise smokers and try to stop smokers from adopting, even though adoptive parents are desperately needed. They've done this whole black lungs thing, right? You know, they died. They're not, smokers' lungs don't go black. Let me tell you something. The guy that did Keith's operation, and he's doing very, very well, by the way, so everybody knows, he's walking about and breathing and toddling off for drives and all kinds of things. The guy that did his op is the top cardiothoracic and pulmonary surgeon in the UK, and he prefers smokers' lungs for transplants. Why? Because they're hardy. If you've got to 55 and your lungs are in bloody good condition, and you've been smoking, you've got hardy lungs, they're not going to go wrong. So he kind of likes them, right? I mean, he's never going to go into the papers and say so in so many words, because that wouldn't be politically correct. But no. So what they're trying to do with all this is make vapers look as bad as they've made smokers look. Please note the way I've phrased that, because I don't think smokers look bad. I don't think smoking is not normal. It's perfectly normal. I have no problem with people smoking in any way, shape or form. I never have had, I never will have, because I'm not a judgmental twat. Take over, Mark, or I'm going to rant.
You're a libertarian, Mr. Dawn, as we all are. You know,
I'm not, I'm cancer.
It's about choice. It's about choice, you know, and an adult can make an informed choice, and you know, we choose to vape as opposed to smoke, and that is something that is never going to change. And more people are alive now that probably wouldn't have been if 5-6 years ago they hadn't taken up vaping.
I'll tell you what, I wish vapes had been around in the 50s. I do. Because all of this battling would have been over and done. It would have been finished and done and dusted. No problems at all. It just would have been finished with. We wouldn't even be having these conversations. In fact, we'd be redundant. We would be redundant. But Jim Cockney said we've all gone to a safer alternative. Indeed we have. And I'm going to say as well, you'll have been noticing tweets coming out of the NNA. Please do latch onto that and keep tuned into the NNA Twitter and Periscope, because there's going to be some video coming out of that where Jerry Stimson will tell you exactly what's going on. But we've entered a court case about snus to try and get snus delegitimized. What's the word I'm looking for? We're trying to get it legalized everywhere in the EU. We've joined a court case. And the NNA, one of the real reasons behind this is if snus is accepted EU-wide, then we've got a hell of a platform to spring from to get e-cigs DTPD'd, for want of a better term. So keep your eyes peeled about that. We're busy bunnies, and it's taking some doing. There's a lot of work involved, and there'll be more on that. So keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye out for it. But we've got. I'm sorry, I'll shut up again. I'm ranting again. I do apologise.
Well, we'll kind of come to the conclusion of tonight's show, really, Dave, because it's just gone 10 o'clock.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we can pick up on the NNA story next week. And can we get Jerry in?
I'll try. He's
No way.
He's really busy, really busy. Like I say, this whole thing has required documents like that high. There's all kinds of stuff, and it's, we've got to be sure that we get this right. So I'll do what I can.
Goodly. So next week's show will be on next week. I'll do. No, that was obviously a pun.
Was it? Oh, right.
Yes. Stupid people. I'll have a bit of ET on some mixing. I got last week. Yes. Did you like that?
It's tickled me fancy.
Oh, good. I was just trying to inject a bit of frivolity into the proceedings to lighten the mood.
In the meantime.
Oh, he's got a hammer.
Well, yes, I've picked this up as being a device for ridding one's hair of lice and nits, and I've heard that Stanton's got nits, so I'll help him get shot of them. I'll count how many there are, and I'll hit each one individually from a high height. I think
percussive maintenance.
Yes, percussive maintenance. I think that's
you nod
what
your head, I'll hit it.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. So is that it? Is it? Are we wrapping up, are we?
We're wrapping up. Yeah.
Wrapping up.
Well, that being
Time
that being the case, then I shall go to this camera so that I've got that one.
I can see it. That one.
That one,
That
yes.
one there.
That one, yes. That one there.
I can see the camera. They can see you in it.
Yes. And they can see you in it as well.
Yeah.
This is.
Why
Oh,
did I do that?
what?
Okay. Carry on.
Jesus, you can't get the stuff these days. Well, you can, but you've got to pay them, and we've got no money for anything like that. Marco's there, and Matt's there, and we've had Ant and Corin and Doug in with us as well. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. I've kind of enjoyed it, even though I did get a bit ranty. And I'll be honest, I do think the world has finally jumped the bloody shark. It's gone beyond a joke now. It really has. It's just crazy. Like I say, when you end up checking the colour of your poo to make sure it's the same as the colour of your wee for fear your poo's got cancer, it's just crazy. Totally and utterly off the scale. So, as Marco says, next week's show will be on next week.
You've got to, haven't you? Come on.
Well, apparently you have.
Oh, yes. Gonna have a laugh.
Indeed. So we'll see you next week. I'll see you next week, and then I'm buggering off for a fortnight. So the lads will be on their own, but you'll still keep tuning in, won't you? So from Marco.
Cheerio.
From Matt.
Bye.
Say handsome lads, aren't they? And from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you all the next time we see you, which apparently will be next week. But until then, enjoy your life, do what makes you happy, and always remember that technically serotonin, and what's the other one? I've forgotten
Toast.
now. Hey?
Toast. I don't know.
Yeah.
Toast.
Take your toast the way you like it. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.